Hello and welcome back. We are now live again here at the Legacy Cast in Pueblo, Colorado. And my name is Christopher Torres. And again, I want to say welcome. We are continuing our series with miracles, signs, and wonders. This is going to be a segment that we're going to try to continue on through the rest of the year. I know last time you were able to hear the interview that we did with John Weigel. Powerful interview. Going to be probably doing, I was requesting maybe do a part 2 with that, but we'll probably wait to see how far we get. We got a lot of interviews to be able to do this year. Sitting right next to me right now, right, is going to be Mr. Toren Burton, right? So, Mr. Toren, he is actually part of here in the community of Pueblo, the Victory Home, the men's Victory Home, which I'm pretty sure if you've never heard about it, it is a very intensive 16-month program that is provided by the Ministry of Victory Outreach Pueblo Legacy Center, in which they allow individuals to come in that whether they have addictions or whether they're lost, they're hurting, they're broken, doesn't matter what the need that they can meet. But it's like a discipleship home where they come in, and it's intensive because you give up your rights, right? You have to give up your cell phone. You have to give up everything.
It's over.
Yeah, you have to give everything up to be able to come in and submit and surrender to what God has for your life. And so this is one individual that's going to be graduating next week. And so I wanted to bring him on because he went through the process. He went through the home, and now he's facing graduation next week. And it's an accomplishment, definitely to be celebrated. So we just wanted to have him on here. I kind of want him to share a couple things. So let's get right into it. So go ahead and why don't you tell us your name, where you're from, and how old you are.
So my name is Toren Kent Burton. I'm originally from California, San Diego, and I am 31 years old.
Ooh, come on, 31.
31 young.
31 young. All right, so here's where we start getting into the meat and the potatoes. So I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to be real simple. I'm going to say, how long have you been saved? Okay. And what was your Damascus Road experience? Like, where did you really find God? Or what was your defining moment in your life? And like at that point, did you know that God was real for you to develop that relationship with him? And that, I'm sure you heard about it at Damascus Road, like that,
Yes,
that
sir.
altar in your life.
Yes, sir. So I've been saved for 7 years. 7 years. I got saved 7 years ago at this church. Got baptized at the church, you know what I mean, of Pueblo, and then went back to San Diego, and I came back. But as far as that experience, I believed in God my whole life. I was very blessed to have been noticed by God. I felt it inside my heart, but I didn't know Jesus. I didn't, and that was crucial. That was probably the biggest eye-opener of my whole entire existence. I would pray as a child.
So you knew God.
I knew God.
You just didn't know Jesus.
I didn't know. So in my mind, I was like, Jesus is part of the Bible, the book. I know God is real. I've seen the signs, miracles, and wonders. But I'm not about to open up this book because it's it's all fairy tales. You know what I mean? Like Jesus, really Jesus. So when I had God expressed to me in a way that you need to know Jesus, everything just switched. Everything that I thought I knew was out the window, and I had a fresh new beginning with Jesus, and starting that relationship is where I was fully saved, as in like real saved, authentically saved. And also I was able to just open up the door to what Jesus can do in your life, the Bible, you know what I mean, it being authentically accurate truth. And so that experience was about 7 years ago. But also just in my day-to-day life, even before then, the things that would happen in my life, I knew that there was no way, there's no chance, there's no this, that. Yep. And I could also hear God speak to me. And I know it's different for everybody, but I could hear him speak to me. And when he would speak to me, and mind you, I'm an only child. So, you know what I mean? Like, I had imaginary friends and,
So
you know.
like, are you really God?
Yeah, that. And then also, too, you know, I dealt with abandonment issues. I was lonely. But whenever I'd pray, or sometimes I wouldn't even pray, I could feel the Spirit of the Lord, you know, over me. And I felt this peace, or I felt this understanding. Or, you know, sometimes I even got chastised a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's what the Spirit of God does, right? He tells you, so you change.
Yeah.
Wow. And where were you when that happened?
As far as
like, what place were you at? Where were you living?
Oh, so this is kind of like, all right. So I was in San Diego when I would feel, you know, the move of God and Him speaking to me. But as far as my relationship starting with Jesus, I was out here. That's the coreness of where it started. Wow. That is where, you know, I had learned that, you know, it's also where I learned reverence. You know, I really didn't have reverence when I was younger. You know, I'd be cursing and praying at the same time, like, you know, Lord, I don't know,
I met people like that.
Yeah, you know,
no judgment, but
so
like,
I didn't have the mind, you know, to know that. I was just being authentic with myself and my relationship with God. But, you know, as I grew, of course, you know, I matured in areas. But with Jesus, I want to say, before when I was out here in Pueblo for 7 years ago, that carried me from when I left to go back to San Diego.
Okay.
And that even though, you know, because mind you, when I went back to San Diego, I wanted to run back in my mess and do what I wanted to do. Yeah, but something had been birthed inside of me.
Okay.
Something had changed. So, you know, even though, you know, I you know, backslid and did whatever I was doing, I fully had felt convictions. I fully, you know what I mean? I was actively trying to change versus just like whatever, you know. And that's what led me back here, you know, praying and, you know, Jesus telling me, you know, let me finish what I started.
That's what was going to actually lead me to my next question.
Yes, sir.
Is, so knowing that now, and looking back at where you were before, what advice can you give to somebody that is like in your shoes, that's like been there before? I know you were saying that Jesus was like a fairy tale. You didn't really understand it. It really kind of wasn't real. Like, and where you were at the point in your life, what advice would you give like your younger self or somebody that you can think of that's going through the similar situation?
Advice.
That's a tough one.
Advice. Yeah.
I always think about that too. Like, what would make me listen?
I know, right?
What would have made me listen? Like, being younger,
because you know me.
Yeah.
You know me, so you've seen different
sides of Toren Burton. Different sides. And that's what's hard, is because I think about that for this younger generation. Because what would have made me listen? Because I was a knucklehead.
Right.
I was like, if I don't figure this thing out by myself, that's your life. That's how you did it. You know, God wants to deal with you like that, but I want to figure this. I want to go out and have fun. I want to go out and do my thing. So I'm trying to speak to that generation, and it's hard because I'm like, how? So that's why I'm asking.
Right.
Like,
so
what do you?
So we definitely live in I mean, if you don't mind me saying, we definitely live in a generation where, like, following is a trend. You know, I was very, like I said, I was the only child, so, you know, I didn't really have nobody to look up to. So I would just do me. You know what I mean? I was very, if people wore a certain thing, I wore the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely stood out.
Against the grain.
Yeah, I always wanted, so, you know, one, I would start for that, for people who are kind of, easily, impressionable.
Yep.
You know, you have to break that. Because at the end of the day, this is your life, you know, and don't get me wrong, birds of a feather flock together. We all, you know what I mean? We all have people who we naturally, you know, will pick up on things from them. But my advice would be, and this might sound kind of weird, but pray and dig deep. For me, praying is probably the biggest thing. And when I mean praying, I don't mean, you know, you have to do this a certain way. You just need to be authentic, be by yourself, and let it all out, and ask for God to reveal Himself to you, because He will. He has. It's not like He doesn't want to do that. You know what I mean? I don't know how it works for other people, but, you know, because I've had people say like, "Well, nothing happened," And I'm like, well, but how are you approaching this? You know what I mean? That's a big thing.
That's big. Yep.
Because did you approach it because somebody just told you, well, just go in the room and pray? You know, or did you in your heart, like whenever I did, I looked in my heart and was like, I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna really pray. I'm gonna seek this feeling, this little like drum rhythm that's inside that I can hear. It's getting louder and louder. You know what I mean? So, but I would also, say that, you got to take a step of faith. Who cares what anybody thinks? Who cares? In this day and age, I grew up when I was younger. I was afraid to admit I believed in God.
Oh, come on.
I was afraid.
Come on. It's still grown adults.
Yeah. I was afraid. Like, people start talking about God, and then I grew into somebody, they start talking about Jesus, and I want to fight. Then I'd have the Holy Spirit be like, look, I don't need you to beat nobody up for me. I can do whatever I need to do. But, yeah, but I would say praying is essential. That's the biggest thing. And people might even say, oh, start by reading the Bible, start by speaking out, and like I said, that and be in that place by yourself. No noise. You don't need to have no worship music. By yourself, where you hear that like little almost white noise ringing in your ear because it's so quiet. You know what I'm talking about? But that's what I would say.
Okay, and then one last question I want to ask, because I know you're coming up on graduation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, for the Victory Home. I just want to give just a short testimony of like how you were when you came in, what it took, like what you felt like it was, and then also where you're at now. Because I think that's a success story. Because you got your own place now.
Yes, sir.
You managed to be able to save, and so it's not just a Band-Aid. I believe that Victory Outreach, the Victory Homes are doing. They're actually setting you up so you could be able to succeed. So, share just real briefly.
Yeah. So, before I came into the home, I was just recently lost everything in San Diego. I lived right by Mexico selling drugs. I had a nice house, I had the little chopper. I had all the things. And even in that moment, real quick, I was still empty. And I knew too, it was so hard. I couldn't even pray. And, cause I was so deep in my sin, I didn't even know how to come to God anymore. So, long story short, by divine intervention, I got the call from Pastor just wanting to talk to me. And I felt it in my heart. The Holy Spirit told me, go back to the home. And I was like, I'm not going back to the that sounds crazy. But something told me, and God said, if you go, I'll fulfill every sector of your life. Ooh. Just be hidden. You need to be hidden. Let me heal you. Let me work on you. So I came back, and at that time it was just me in the home for a month and a half. Just me. Yeah, so I was the lone soldier for a little bit.
He was hidden.
Yeah, I was definitely hidden. But also, though, I came in with determination, and I tell people that who want to come in the home, it's not easy. But if you're determined, and if you make up your mind right then and there, like, I'm not leaving. Whatever happens, I'm going to see it through. I'm telling you right now, the transformation is amazing. I came in the home like, oh, well, I still want to do this when I get out, and I can fully say I am fully healed from my addiction, and it stemmed deeper than I even thought with depression, anxiety, all those things. But I allowed the process to happen. It wasn't easy, but what is easy? You know what I mean? What is easy? And the home builds soldiers. I'm a firm believer of maybe you might want to go back to your home city, or maybe, but this process, if you do the process, you will carry things. I do things. My life has changed because of it. I have a whole new routine.
Come on.
A whole new routine. And it's not because, oh, well, that's what we did and I'm told to do that. And no, it's because I allowed the transformation to happen. And I want to nurture this relationship that I have. So, now that I'm coming up on, it's going to be 17 months, actually.
17 months?
17, yeah. Put the 7 on there. So it's going to be 17 months. And, I saved up every dollar. And this is something I never, ever did. I was horrible with finances. I spent all my money. I had like 5 cents, like a nickel, and try to spend that on something. Oh, let me get a toy can or something. You know what I mean? But, so I saved up every penny. I tithed still. I tithe still. You know what I mean? And it was kind of hard, but I still tithe. And, you know, and I didn't think about it. I was like, you know, Jesus, this is yours anyways. And what I also did was remain patient and still. And I allowed God to kind of move in that area. Not kind of, he did move in that area. And I was blessed enough to be able to get a spot. You know what I mean? Be able to get it furnished.
Come on.
Be able to get it furnished. Not just because I had no money. I spent the money, right? So, and then I have a little bit of money left over. I thought I was going to just be all out. But no, you know, and this is just the beginning.
Come on.
That's another thing, too. When you graduate the home, I mean, this is me, but I think you never arrive. There is no arrival. And when we start thinking we arrived, that's when things happen. That's when, you know, you change. That's when you backslide. That's when you it's kind of like, you know, like the people who started from the ground and then make their way up. Yep. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they like, yeah, the homie come around, but like he don't even know where he from no more. Like dang, you know what I mean? So, you know, and that's something that I hold dear to my heart and I try to keep. You know, just because I'm graduating doesn't mean I'm not going to do clean up the church. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to do some of the things that the home does or help out. You know, and that will carry you. Yep. That will carry you and keep you grounded. But yes, it's the hardest thing, but the best thing. Ooh, and yeah, it builds soldiers.
Come on.
You know?
Come on. And that's what I always say. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do in your life. One of the best things.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Toren, definitely appreciate it. If they want to come out, I know it's going to be, February 17th? Next Sunday?
I think the 16th, sir.
16th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and that's going to be, February 16th at Victory Outreach Pueblo Legacy Center.
Yep.
There's going to be a couple other gentlemen that are going to be graduating.
Yep.
And this is in our community. This is taking place right here in Pueblo, Colorado, where lives are being changed, and not just short term where it's just a come in for 3 months, come in for 6 months. No, this is going to be what we're trying to do is do a lifelong change to raise disciples that will raise disciples. So,
and can I say something real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's not just a life change. The Holy Spirit, God, the Holy Trinity is changing us, changing people's lives.
Come on.
And that is the most beautiful thing in the world. You know, you could go to rehab and read the little books and, you know, do the 5 steps. I don't do steps. I pray.
Come on.
That's what I do. I don't need to, you know, breathe 50 times before I get triggered. I don't get triggered. I pray. I'm healed. So, you know.
So again, want to say thank you all for joining us. We'll be having some more interviews coming up. But it's going to be, like I said, so keep us posted. You see the Zoom link there. It's going to be every other week that we're going to be getting on. So like I said, we wanted to get on this week because we won't be posting next week. I'm going to be out of town, but I wanted to stay kind of consistent with it. Again, this is the Legacy Cast. This is our city. We are the change that we want to see.
Yes, sir.
And I believe, you know, exactly what God is doing. There is power. And like it says, that the power, you know what I mean, miracle signs and wonders should be following those that preach the gospel. Right here is a walking, living miracle of God's grace. So again, thank you, Toren.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. God bless you guys, and we'll see you soon.